Being a car in a showroom is kind of just very little bit like being a Hollywood star. Well, first of all, irrespective of how old you are, you have to look young and hot and attractive. And then every time you hit the road, you just have to be able to cope with whatever's thrown at you. And then, of course, there's the green leanings. You have to be green. And with the April 2010 deadline for the metros, all cars have to meet the Euro 4 norms, which is the BS4 norms, which is why the Maruti Zen Estillo has got an upgrade. It's been tweaked and played around with to look more stylish, and then it's got a new engine. We're taking a look to see what the differences are. From the look standpoint, the Estillo gets bigger headlamps at the front, which gives it a more flowing and stylish look. There have been minor tweaks to the bumpers and to the rear tail lamps, which however can only be made out under very close scrutiny. The new factor inside the Estillo isn't all that impressive either. Not that much of change on the inside. Is that same airy feeling cabin space is decent. The main change here, of course, is the two-tone dashboard and seats. There's a combination of cream and chocolate, making it look just that little bit different. However, there isn't a very plush or rich feel to the interiors. The plastics definitely feel quite down market. And once you hit the road in the Estillo, you can't help but make comparisons with its earlier avatar. The old 1.1 litre engine in the Zen Estillo, it used to have lots and lots of bottom end response, just like in the Wagoner. But if you revved it hard, it would just scream, shout and protest all the way. The new engine is far more refined in comparison, and it feels a lot more current gen. Now the new engine is from the K family, it's from the A-Star, it's a 3-cylinder engine. It's got, well, not such a strong bottom end, but it's got a strong mid-range, and then it just loves to rev. Next, it comes to the ride, and you hope that things are better than before. Now the old Estillo, it really had one big problem. At speed, it would seem like it was gonna take off. It would move around that much. The new Estillo has got its suspension firmed up so that it just behaves a little bit better. Actually, you end up feeling a bit more of this low ride firmness, but it tends to handle the potholes and the bumps quite decently. At high speed though, it still gets thrown off at bumps. It tends to bob around, move around a bit, which isn't very comfortable. And things don't get much better for the Estillo in the handling department either. Handling, it's still not the Zen Estillo's forte. Push it around a corner, it will roll around a lot, and at speed hit a bump and it will bob around, move around, just generally not be very comfortable. Still not sorted. But how does the new Estillo stack up with the competition in this segment? Let's start from the interiors. Starting with the interiors and equipment, the i10 scores highest marks thanks to its great build quality and option list that includes ABS and airbags. The Chevrolet Spark has a surprising amount of space for such a tightly packaged car, and the level of equipment and safety features is quite good too. But the quality of plastics isn't too impressive, and the grey color scheme makes it quite dull on the inside. So in terms of interiors and equipment, the i10 has a clear edge over the competition, with the Spark coming in second, ahead of the Estillo. Then when it comes to the performance, the i10 with its strong bottom end sprints to 60, just ahead of the Spark, with the Estillo trailing in last. In the sprint to 100, the i10 has a clear edge, but the Estillo's strong mid-range kicks in, putting the Spark down in third. When it comes to usable power, the i10 manages to keep the advantage in the slog from 20 to 80, with the Spark just a step behind, and the Estillo comes in third. In the run from 40 to 100, the i10 proves its versatility by coming up ahead of the rest. The rev-happy Estillo swaps place with the Spark for second. The i10 shows the competition a clean set of heels with 9 stars, and the Spark gets 8 stars, while the Estillo comes in last with 7. The Hyundai i10 is streets ahead even in the ride department. The soft suspension really pampers the occupants, and despite its comfort focus, it doesn't feel too flighty or airy at higher speeds. Only over bad roads does it feel a bit choppy. The Spark suspension turns out to be quite good, but not as pliant as the i10. So if you compare them, the i10 and the Spark come out almost neck and neck, while the Estillo's crudeness puts it a bit behind in the ride department. The i10, despite its soft suspension, does a pretty good job of handling the corners. Only a slight tendency for the rear to step out when pushed hard needs to be handled with some care. The Spark 2 feels quite comfortable around a winding path, the suspension feeling capable and well planted. It just doesn't have the direct steer feel of the i10. And overall it is the i10 that manages to charge ahead, with the Spark following in close behind, while the Estillo trails in last. Finally, in the fuel efficiency stake, the 3-cylinder engine of the Estillo proves to be on par with the Spark, returning 12.3 km per litre in the city, while the i10 falls behind by a very small margin. There's hardly any difference in highway fuel efficiency between the three, with the Spark boasting the best efficiency with 16.9 km per litre, while the i10 comes in last with only 0.6 km per litre less. So while the Estillo does make itself ready for the 2010 BS4 rules, it still has some way to go before outclassing the competition. Well, the 1-litre K-Series motor is bringing Zen Estillo into the Bharat Stage 4 world. It's gonna be as the Estillo though. It's also giving the Estillo a new edge. It's got refinement on its side. It feels much better than the older motor, which was just a little harsh. This one feels a lot peppy as well. Performance actually isn't all that different as far as fuel efficiency is concerned. That's not changed much either. And then of course you have this wider spread of power. It feels more rev happy, so just a little bit better to drive. But on other fronts, when compared to the competition, the Estillo just doesn't feel all that complete. Build quality feels light and tinny. Ride isn't all that sorted. Neither is handling. On the plus side, price tags haven't moved all that much. It's still a Maruti Suzuki for most of the people. That's what matters. So the Estillo, which feels, well, despite the engine change, a little long in the tooth now, is still going to be a promising deal in Bharat Stage 4 world.